Said, when the whole of the world is cemented over, a blade of grass will grow, and it will cause a crack in that pavement, and through that crack freedom will be restored. It is surely our obligation to encourage any step whatsoever that will preserve to the individual whatever little leverage we have left to determine in our own behalf what we desire to do, whom we desire to serve, and in which way. Thank you.
Well, the two main speakers have now finished, but the debate is very far from being over. At this stage, it's thrown open to the floor, and that means that anyone can get up, absolutely anyone, anyone, in fact, who has the courage to stand up and speak. And the debate may well go on until very late at night. And many of the people who will be getting up to speak now will probably have been at university, perhaps only for 2 or 3 weeks. But it's their right to get up and pit their wits against the visiting giants just as much as anyone else. Here's an extract from a speech of a more experienced debater, an ex-president, now a university lecturer, the lilting Welsh voice of Mr. Christy Davis.
Mr. President, sir, after hacking my way through the snares and delusions of the Union, perhaps I could address myself to the motion. And it seems, firstly, that if one is going to demonstrate that the market is a snare and a delusion, and this is to be a meaningful positive statement, then one has to demonstrate that it is more of a snare and a delusion than certain alternatives. Because in a sense, the whole of life is a snare and delusion. The words we are using are snares and delusions. The statistics that have been concocted are snares and delusions. Oh yes, and the words you're using even more so.
Christy Davis was the last of the floor speakers, and now we come to the climax of the evening as the President calls for the vote.
I will now call upon the House to divide upon the motion that the market is a snare and a delusion. Would Mr. John Powell upstairs please act as a teller for the noes? And would all those in favour of the motion please raise one hand?
Now remember, those voting for the motion...
and Mr. Waters, please count in the floor.
The ayes voting for the motion will be voting with J.K. Galbraith. They're being counted now. Those who vote against the motion, the noes, will be lining up with William Buckley. Now, there are two ways of taking a vote in the Union. There you see the division doors, the lobbies, through which in the traditional way the House files out, the ayes going through the aye door and being ticked off as they go, the noes against the motion through the no door. Now, this is the British parliamentary tradition, but the drawback, of course, is that everybody has to file out of the chamber to vote, and then they have to come back in again to hear the result. Now, as you can see, there are rather a lot of people here tonight, and it would be rather an inconvenient way of taking the vote, and so Nick Stadlen, the President, has decided to have a show of hands.
All those against the motion, please raise one hand.
It's quite a tense moment for the speakers. They'll be trying not to show their anxiety. They've all put their best into the debate tonight, and they'd be less than human if they didn't want to win. I don't know who the loser's going to be, but he can be consoled with the thought that as great a man as Winston Churchill came to the Cambridge Union and lost a debate. Though I think Churchill came on a number of occasions and won some of his motions, and Pandit Nehru won when he came here. James Baldwin, 5 years ago, was the man who in fact defeated William Buckley then. Remember, both of these guest speakers tonight lost their previous debate, so they'll both be just that little bit more anxious, I think, to get the vote going in their favour. Thought I saw somebody there then who had two hands up. Be a very unsporting thing to do. I'm sure he wasn't. There are people voting up in the gallery. There's the Union crest and the gallery. People above there voting too. They'll have to be counted and included. If it's very close, and I can't see from here which way it's going, there is the possibility of a recount, and then, of course, a division after that if necessary. The result being shouted down from the gallery.
All those abstaining?
President having to do a fast bit of mental arithmetic, obviously. He's calling for the abstainers now. I should think most people will have made up their minds by this stage. Opposition speakers exchanging a word there. I wonder what they're up to. They must be a little bit anxious. Remember, J.K. Galbraith for the motion, William F. Buckley against. If the motion is carried, it's a victory for J.K. Galbraith. If it's defeated, then Mr. Buckley will be the winner.
In that case, if the presidential mathematics are correct, I declare that the motion that the market is a snare and a delusion is defeated by 200 votes.
So Mr. Buckley has won. William F. Buckley is the winner of tonight's debate.
Is defeated by 200 votes to 118 with 45 abstentions. I declare the House adjourned.
And good night to you in the Cambridge Union.
The portion of the debate between John Kenneth Galbraith and William F. Buckley was unedited.